Welcome. Welcome to another exciting episode of Carving the Divine TV. My name is Yujiro Seki. I'm a director, writer, and the producer of the documentary Carving the Divine. Carving the Divine is about Buddhist sculptors of Japan, and I'm ready to present it for the first time in the world. But before I do so, I thought it would be a great idea to introduce basic concept of Buddhism and the history of Buddhism, so that when you guys finally watch my documentary, you guys can watch it at the maximum value. So we've been talking about Mahayana Buddhism for quite a long time because Buddhist sculptors of Japan, they are from a Mahayana Buddhist tradition. But we don't give too much attention to Theravada Buddhism. But Theravada Buddhism is very, very important as well. And today I have a perfect person who can explain to us a little bit about the Theravada Buddhism so that you guys have a better understanding of this tradition. So welcome. I'm really happy to have you, Bhante Ananda. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, beautiful. So Bhante Ananda, please tell us who you are and your little bit of a history behind why you became a Theravada Buddhist.
And first, I would like to thank you, Mr. Yujiro Seki, to organizing this video conversation all the way from United States. Well, I am Bhikkhu Ananda. In addressing, you can just call me Bhante Ananda, which is a popular term in Theravada Buddhist, among Theravada Buddhists. Well, I was born in 1967 in a suburb of Kathmandu Valley, a village called Valambu. At the age of 13, due to the influence from my village Theravada Buddhist monastery, where I used to go visit and take religious classes from my young days, due to my growing interest, I thought of renouncing household life and choose a monk life which can lead me a better and peaceful life, a successful life. So at the age of 13, I renounced my family and home to become a Theravada Buddhist monk.
Now, I would like to ask you this main question. So what is Theravada Buddhism anyway? What is the core teaching of Theravada Buddhism?
Theravada mainly emphasize on what the Buddha taught originally. It preserves and practices the purity of Buddhist teachings. So in summary, the three canonical texts, that is called three Pitaka, three baskets of Buddhist canonical texts are comprised of these original teachings. They are called Sutta Pitaka, or discourses of advice or admonition. Vinaya Pitaka, discourses of disciplinary rules and regulations for monks, nuns, bhikkhus and bhikkhunis and lay people. And Abhidhamma Pitaka, discourses on higher doctrinal teachings. So these
so it is sounds very difficult. So, but in a nutshell, so for the lay people who don't know anything about the Buddhism, so what the core teaching?
Okay, so for ordinary lay people, Theravada Buddhism means you know, teachings of our real life, which helps us to free from our suffering. That is called how to gain enlightenment by, practicing Buddhism, by practicing meditation. So based on mainly on uh, on three main Buddhist disciplines called Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. Sila means first practicing the moral disciplines. Second, on the foundation of moral discipline, you improve your mental development, on which you uh, practice, meditation. It is called concentration or tranquility of your mind. So it is called samadhi. In other words, tranquilizing your mind. And panya, then when you develop your mind through meditation, then you reach a higher wisdom. It's called panya, or it's such a intellectual and uh, wiseful stage of your mind, in which you can see things as they really are. The impermanence of the world, and then suffering of the world, and then soullessness of the world. So when you understand, or when you realize these three characteristics of this life, then you can realize what is life and what is the world, and then it will help you to free from the bondage of this birth and death. So that is called nibbana, or that is, in other words, final freedom from your all sort of suffering. So Theravada emphasizes mainly based on this uh, you know uh, cleaning your mind or purifying your mind from defilements called hatred, greed, aversion, illusion, and delusion, from all sort of this which cloud your mind, which impurifies your mind, cleaning all these things and purify yourself, your mind, and you attain the bliss of nirvana. Or that means, in other words, you are free from the birth and death. So when you are free from birth and death, means you no more you are born in this world. When you are not born in this world, there is no aging. When there is no aging, there is no sickness. When there is no sickness, there is no suffering or pain, and ultimately there is no death. So Theravada Buddhism, stresses on, try to free from the bondage of this circle of life and death, the free from suffering. So this is the core teaching of Theravada Buddhism.
No, that's beautiful. So yeah, so in order to lead this kind of a lifestyle, do we have to give up our ordinary life just like you did?
Well, now you know that there's a part-time duty and whole-time duty. So which one you like better? It depends on your choice. So more you are whole-timer or whole-time duty, so more you gain the enlightenment speed and fast. Being a lay person also, you can practice Buddhism, Theravada Buddhism. There is no harm. There is no hard and fast rule that each and everybody must renounce his household life or lay life. No. The Buddha doesn't say that everyone must renounce the whole household life. But the thing is, the main point here is Now, more you are free from your duties and responsibilities, more you are free from your obstacles, hindrances, you know. So being a monk is you are more trying to be free from your household duties and responsibilities and hindrances, obstacles, you know. So Buddha has compared a lay life like full of obstacles, you know, entangled with so many duties and responsibilities. A monk life is compared as a free bird in the sky, you know, where there is no bondage. You are not entangled with certain, you know, specific duties and responsibility that is common in lay life. So monk life is more free, and it's like whole time duty. So when you have enough time, so you can develop your mind, you can, you know, purify your mind faster than a layman who is more, you know, entangled in other duties and responsibilities. So this is what difference. So choice is yours.
No, that's beautiful, beautifully said. So, yeah, we've been talking about Mahayana Buddhism a lot in this show, but how does Theravada different from Mahayana, and why is Theravada your choice?
Major difference between these two are in especially in specific uh, ways, like Theravada Buddhism mostly practiced or adopted in Southeast Asian and South Asian countries like Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, and so on. So these Southeast Asia and South Asian Buddhism is called Southern School of Buddhism. Whereas Mahayana Buddhism is adapted in Northern Asian countries like China, Tibet, Mongolia, Japan, Korea, and some parts of Russia. So it is called Northern School of Buddhism. And Theravada Buddhism, the main scripture is Pali scripture, whereas Mahayana Buddhism, you know, adopted Sanskrit language or Sanskrit scripture. Later, Mahayana texts are written in Tibetan scripture also. And Theravada Buddhism is mostly, you know, focused on, you know, personal development. In other words, you know, to make the people, the mass, free from suffering, first you have to be free from suffering. To that, for that, first you have to, you know, establish yourself in a higher level of, you know, emancipation or liberation. Then only you can free the mass or the other followers. Whereas Mahayana Buddhism more focus on, you know, while you are practicing the teachings, in the same time you try to, you know, free your followers from suffering. So it is like, you know, in other way, you are, while you are driving, you take your followers in your own vehicle. Theravada side, it emphasizes that first you have to be perfect. So you have to be free from all sort of your defilements, and your spiritual advancements is the most important before you, try to purify others. So this is mainly uh, different. And also in Theravada Buddhism, monastic tradition is very important. In monastic training, you have uh, teacher-student relationship, and there is a very close relationship between the Buddhist monks, temple or monastery, and lay followers. In Mahayana also, the monastic teachings and trainings are very important. So mainly, Theravada Buddhism focus on, purification of mind, personal emancipation, whereas also being as arahat, which is called sainthood. Whereas Mahayana focus on more on bodhisattva concept. Bodhisattva means a future Buddha, or training candidate for future Buddha. So Mahayana emphasize more on bodhisattva concept. That means the bodhisattva concept is more on mass base, doing service to the world in a greater number. So Mahayana has this bodhisattva concept. But both Mahayana and Theravada, they share common philosophy also. Both have this Four Noble Truth and Eight Noble Path, and also, the concept of Nibbana. So these philosophical concept you can have as common doctrinal teaching in both schools.
So you chose Theravada because you wanted to focus on your personal development and try to attain enlightenment and nirvana, whereas you thought maybe Mahayana might not be as effective as Theravada in your world, right?
Well, in my initial days, when I was just at the age of 13, in my teenage, actually, to be frank, I didn't have clear knowledge of what is Theravada and what is Mahayana. To tell the truth, it is because I am influenced by my village monastery, which is Theravada Buddhist monastery. So I got that influence from that Theravada Buddhist environment and Theravada Buddhist monastery and all the Theravada practices in the monastery. So from that, I got the initial impact to become a monk. I don't know if I got in the young days influences from Mahayana tradition. I might have become a Mahayana monk also.
So yeah, this is, I think, a typical question too. But do you live in monastery?
I do live in monastery, and monastery is a suitable and perfect place to live for monks. So in Pali, it is called vihara. The word term called vihara. Vihara means a suitable abode or living or residential place. So when you become a monk, when you ordain as a Theravada monk, it is a rule that you must not live in a house or among lay people. you know. So you are a specific person. Once you are ordained as a Theravada monk, there is a sutra called Dasadhamma Sutra, that in the first verse it says, now you are totally different in color, in shape, in your wearings, so that you are now a different person outwardly and inwardly. So you have to be specific. You have to be, different person in, in all your ways, like in your wearing clothes or robes, in eating, in walking, in meditating, in all your, physical postures and physical, movements. There is a specific peculiarity uh, in your all physical movements than, that you did as common people, as common lay people. So you are no more lay people and no more lay person, so that you can't, talk, walk, or act like before as a lay person. So that is why you have to be, naturally away from this lay group or laity. And also Buddha has admonished for initial, the new bhikkhus, he always, advises, oh bhikkhus, you have now become a shaven-headed, you know, uh, uh, going forth monk. So your, not only your physical attire or physical complex, but also your attitudes, your way of thinking, also quite different from those lay people. So this is what makes you different, and this is what, as you question that why a Theravada monk should live or renounce household life and live in a monastery. I think you are clear now.
I'm very, very clear now. So thank you so much. So now we're going to move into the practical question. So how do you utilize the Buddhist teaching in your real life or in anybody's real life?
Well, Buddhism in actual sense is not religion. The Buddha, he was human being, and he achieved the enlightenment as a human person, human being, not as a god or agent of God or supported or aided by any supernatural being. He was born as human being, brought up as human being, and he, went on searching for 6 years, for 6 years by ascetic, practices, and he achieved enlightenment as a human being with all human skills, talents, and all human capabilities. So Buddha's teachings are focused on, centralized on human problems and human suffering. So Buddhism is based on man-made spiritual guidance. Buddhism is called, human way of life. It's a art of living, human art of living, in other words. So it's not something, blind faith or something mystical or mythology that you don't see or you can't hear or you can experience. So Buddhism is based on experiential level. So the Buddha says, I will teach only which people can practice. I do not teach or preach anything that beyond human experiences or beyond human capacities that human being can't do or can practice or can achieve. So whatever I teach, it's a human-based teachings. So Buddha, how to utilize Buddhism? In other words, suppose the Buddha has preached so many universally applicable teachings like 5 precepts, that is called Pancha Sila. 5 means Pancha, Sila means it says precepts. In other words, ethical codes. So what are those 5 precepts? So first, number 1, do not kill, harm, or harass living beings, both human and animal beings, non-humans. And then second precept, don't steal or rob or loot others' belongings. Number 3, don't misbehave towards opposite sex. In other words, you always behave your opposite partner like a man towards a woman, a boy towards girl, with respectful attitudes. And number 4, you be always honest, truthful, don't speak lie or don't tell lie. That means, in other words, it's a dishonest, it's in a way, it's a cheating others. So once you become dishonest or once you cheat, once you trick to fulfill your selfishness, then you are no more, taken as believable person, Then number 5, don't take intoxicating drinks that hallucinate your, brain, and that intoxicates your brain and your memory, which leads to you to, liable to do all sort of crimes.
Bhante, Ananda. So my movie is about the Buddhist sculptors of Japan, and I often ask this question to practitioners. Yes, what is Theravada view on Buddhist statues? I know maybe in Theravada they don't call it Buddhist statues; it's a Buddha statues. Yeah, so what is the view of Buddha statues for Theravada Buddhism? Please tell us.
Thank you for your timely and important question. Well, Buddha statue is not just made of normal things like wood or stone or cement or fiber, glass or anything. No. Buddhist people take Buddha statue as a symbol of veneration, a symbol of worship, on which you express your deeper faith and deeper veneration towards the Buddha or respect towards the Buddha. It's also a medium to understand Buddha's teaching. It's also medium to realize who the Buddha is and to realize his Dhamma or his teaching. And also, as Buddhism has 3 levels, that is cultural level, intellectual level, and spiritual level. For the beginners in Buddhism, so cultural level is the basic level. in which you are provided initial symbolic features like statues and other things. So Buddha statue helps you to calm down and cool down your mind. Not only that, to culture your mind, to civilize your mind, which helps once you become, cultured and civilized, physically and mentally, and that becomes a basic foundation, or that becomes a firm foundation to uh, enter to intellectual level or higher level of practices. So Buddha statue is not just an idol or object of veneration or worship, but also it is a bridge to enhance your higher and deeper level of Buddhism, in which you can achieve intellectual and also spiritual level.
Nice, nice, beautiful, beautifully summarized. So thank you very much. And Bhante Ananda, please tell us how can I find out about you? So yeah, tell us a little bit about how can we follow you and stuff.
Well, I can be found in online also. My online address you can find in my Facebook ID, which is Ananda Path, and also you can contact me through email. My email address is anandapath@gmail.com. I'm available in Skype also. My Skype ID is Bhante Ananda. And presently I'm based in Kathmandu, Nepal, capital city. And my temple or monastery presently I'm living is Sangaram Vihara. Also it is known as Sangaram Bhikkhu Training Center, which is located on the way to Swayambhu Temple, which is popularly known Monkey Temple. So we are welcome. Whenever you come to Nepal, you just give me a call to my mobile number, which is 9841-212-578. To my mobile number, if you call, I'm available. So all are welcome. Whoever interested or intend to meet me, I am presently based in Nepal.
Beautiful, beautiful. So thank you for even giving us your personal information, such as a phone number. But make sure that maybe at the time of when you watch this show, maybe the phone number is changed. So make sure to email him first before call him. So anyway, if you guys think this information is useful, make sure to subscribe this YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and like me on my Facebook, because that's how we do it in the 21st century. So thank you very much, Bhante Ananda. So thank you very much for coming and explaining to us about the Theravada Buddhism.
I'm also so much happy by giving me a chance to thoughts and knowledge shed on different aspects of Buddhism, Buddhist philosophy, and Buddhist statues. Thank you so much. Wish you well. May you be well and happy. May you be free from all sort of physical ailments and mental disturbances. May Yujiro Seki be always happy, healthy, and strong. May your mission be fulfilled.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.